Folks, give a huge round of applause for Sean Ewert.
I didn't realize I was next. I was like lost in goldfish. All right. Oh my God, can I lower this just a hair? Okay. All right. So I need to get laid. I do. It's I'm 21 and I'm ready to meet guys. But this is pre-smartphone and pre-Grindr, and this I'm talking about the newspaper personal ad. The local newspaper personal ad. And the phone symbol in your ad meant that someone had paid for the voicemail service, and the little letter icon means you could write them. Like, you can take all this time to like write someone like a pen pal. All right, and if you were really lucky, your ad would be the pick of the week, like Adam searching for his Steve, or Batman and Robin looking for love in their bat cave or something like that. Well, I am too young and I'm too shy to place my own ad, so I decide I'm going to answer everybody else's ad and look for sex. Because I'm a virgin and I've never met another guy to have sex with, nothing. So, and I have to hurry, like the letter writing campaign's not going to work because it just takes way too much time and I'm way too horny. So it's winter 1991, which is a brutal winter in the Midwest, if anyone remembers. And I go to my local Denny's and I park my Chevy Chevette, my beautiful gold Chevy Chevette, and I'm looking through the window and it's just covered with snow. It's brutal outside. So I've got the newspaper and I'm smoothing the newspaper out on the table. And of course, my version of swiping is with a pen, just going like, no. And finally, I find one. I find the perfect ad, I think. And it says, jovial musical theater guy looking for friend and fun. I am 5'10", curly hair, blue eyes, and I like conversation. Exactly. So I'm like, I don't know anything, and I don't know anything about personal ad code, because there is personal ad code. And I think that I've found something that's going to translate into hot sex. And the best part about all of this is he has the phone icon next to his ad, so I can call him. So at the Denny's, I get my newspaper and I get everything up, and I go to the payphone at the Denny's, and I'm feeding in quarters into the payphone of the Denny's. And the only clue you get back then was their voice. There's no picture, there's no reel, you have no clue. This could be like a murderer, you have no idea who this person is. So I'm so excited, and the greeting picks up. I'm like, oh. And his voice is so hot. Hey, I'm Greg. This is my voicemail box. Thanks for calling. Let's make beautiful music together. So I'm like so excited. I had rehearsed nothing. So I was like, I'm Sean. Here's my number, call me. Click. So, that was it. So I go back home, and I knew that I just blew it with this guy. I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to answer this thing. This guy's never gonna call me. Well, I get home, and the guy calls me. And his voice is even hotter on the phone. Ring. I'm like, hi. And he's like, hi, it's Greg. You answered my call on my phone. I'm like, be cool. I'm like, yeah. And so there's like silence, nothing. And he's like, want to come over? And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like thinking with my penis, I'm like, I look outside and the blizzard is getting worse, like by the minute. And I'm like, I've been driving in the snow for like a month now. I mean, I can handle this, right? And I say, well, how far away are you? And he's like, an hour. And I'm like, this could be sex though, right? This could be my chance. So I'm like, I'll be there. So I'm so excited. I go out down to my Chevy Chevette, and I put the key in the thing, and I open it up. And in the back of the hatch, for those of you who've lived in snow, you have to make sure you got the sandbag back there so your car isn't doing this down the freeway. So I make sure the bag is there. Okay, I'm in the car. I go. The highway is like the apocalypse. There is sideways blowing snow. There's semis flipped on their top. There's emergency vehicles also crashed into the ditch. And I'm creeping along in this terrible Chevy Chevette with like no defroster down the highway, the same way I've crept into my dating life, timid but persistent. I'm gonna have sex, snow be damned. I finally make it to Greg's apartment building. And my hands are like arthritic. For anyone's driven in one of these storms, I get out of the car and they're like claws because I'm just gripping this thing. I brush the snow off myself. I go up the 3 flights of stairs up to his apartment. And now, I've never seen this person before. I bet that he's hot and getting ready for our sexy date. I'm so excited. And that magical moment that we're never going to happen again, where 2 people who've never seen each other before will see each other. And it's going to be, oh, that's so good. So the door opens, and Greg appears. Hi! The sexy voice is gone. There's no sexy voice. And he's wearing underoos. Like children's underoos. He's sort of stuffed into them. I'm like, where did you find them big enough to fit you? So I go into his apartment, and no joke, it's like the merch booth for the Phantom of the Opera exploded. It's like he lives inside of a merch booth. There's music theater swag everywhere. There's Les Mis posters hitting me in the face. I keep waiting for him to jump out in some phantom mask to scare me. He's like, I'll go get some water. And he runs off to the kitchen. So I'm standing there in his apartment. I'm looking out the window, and the blizzard, of course, is getting worse. He comes back in, and he's such a sweet guy. I'm looking at him, and there's like 0 chemistry. Like, I'm more attracted to my grandmother. There's like none. And he sits down on the couch, and I sit down next to him, and we're like 2 statues sitting side by side. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what am I gonna do? So I do the like movie theater thing with like an arm. No reaction. I put my hand on his underoos covered leg. No reaction. So I'm like, I'm desperate. I drove all this way. So what he had done, he had started the movie Gypsy, the 50s musical, and he was super into it. So he's into the credits, and he's watching the opening credits. I reach for the remote control to hit pause, and he goes, no. No messing around until the movie is over. And I'm like, oh man. So I have a choice. Do I drive back home in the blizzard because this whole personal ad thing was a bust? Or am I hornier than I am afraid to drive back home? So I get up and I say, I think I'm gonna go. And he's just staring at me. And as I'm walking back down to my car, it dawns on me that this whole experience, I just learned the difference between a hookup and a date. He was on a date. I was on the hookup. I also learned that next time I have to be horny closer to home. Thank you.